Well, Redfin, folks, just slapped the housing market with a serious reality check because new listings and active listings are both surging. Pending sales are now at the lowest level that Redfin has ever recorded for this time of year. And I think we're seeing clear signs that the housing market is definitely shifting, and it's abnormally slow for this time of year, no doubt about it. So that's what we're looking at today on the Housing Nerd. We're going to look at the national picture of the housing market using the latest Redfin data. Then we're going to dive, of course, y'all's favorite part, into the individual metros that you have requested. As normal, I've got a huge list already that I've built from the last week or so that you guys have been putting in these requests. And if you have a request today, put it in the comments. And yeah, I will do my best to get to it today. But my name is Jason Ferrier. I am the Housing Nerd. And welcome to the Housing Nerd channel. I appreciate you joining us today on this Redfin update. If you have comments or questions about the housing market, or you just want to complain about the housing market, that's okay too. Put that in the comments. And whatever you do, hit the like button, because that helps add more people to the stream. And the more the better, obviously. And then sub. If you haven't subscribed to the Housing Nerd, what are you waiting on? You got to do that too, right? Well, let's get to this data. All right. So, of course, all this will be linked in the description below. I think I actually linked already in the description below, but on YouTube. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you happen to be watching this on Facebook, you should watch it on YouTube instead. Much more interactive. Facebook's kind of like, just goofing around, right? So if you want to get serious, join YouTube. All right. So we're going to go over this report now. If you can't hear me or you think my audio stinks, let me know. I've been trying to manually adjust the audio settings because the automatic settings aren't really playing nice with me. So let me know if you cannot hear me or if there's a problem at all with the audio. And I'll just quickly grab a couple of these comments. What's up, Jay? I'm trying to figure out what kind of car you have. From here, it looks like a BMW. That's what it looks like to me, from what I can see, but I don't know if that's right. I live in Northeast Bristol County, Massachusetts. I've seen articles back from 2007 where the Northeast was Brazilian, but resilient? Is that what you're trying to say? But eventually did come up here, but Northeast, where the Northeast was Brazilian, but eventually did come up here, but Northeast was eventually affected. Yeah, you're talking about 2007. Yeah, home prices, they were crazy all over the place. Like Pittsburgh was up during the GFC. Like there were several years where Pittsburgh was up like total of 5%. Other places were down like 50%. So it just depended. Williamson County, Tennessee. Yep, I got that on the list. Thomas, thank you. Ahmed, can you please do San Bernardino? Yep, I think that may be on the list, but I'll make sure I add it. DJ Forecast, what's up, DJ? How you doing? Audio sounds good today. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Chris Weisel. Thanks for telling me about the audio. Okay, let me get to this article before people get mad at me for delaying. All right, new listings hit their highest level in nearly 3 years. Yeah, I think like in the last couple weeks, it seems like we were like at a teetering point with the market. Like I was like, I wonder if we're going to see more new listings or if those are going to start to level off. But we are seeing more new listings. There's no doubt. Would-be buyers are sidelined by record high housing costs and economic instability, allowing inventory to pile up. I'm really curious how much of the slow housing market right now is from the economic instability. Maybe they mean because of rates are higher, but I don't know. There are a lot of buyers out there that aren't buying because of economic instability. Maybe. New listings of U.S. homes for sale rose 8.4% year over year to their highest level in nearly 3 years during the 4 weeks ending May 18th. But buyers aren't biting. Pending sales fell 2.2% dropping to their lowest level for this time of year in our records, which date back to 2015. And mortgage purchase applications are down 5% week over week. I mean, I'm not sure if you wanted like a synopsis on the housing market and you're like, I only got 5 minutes, Jay, then I'm going to move on. There you go. That's it right there. Like, you didn't even need me. You didn't even have to tune in. All you had to do is read that one paragraph. Overall in the U.S., new listings up a lot, pending sales down a lot, and purchase applications are down week over week. So, I mean, that tells me we're just going to continue to be slow. The uptick in listings and decline in sales are causing inventory to pile up. The total number of homes for sale rose 14.3% year over year to their highest level in nearly 5 years. Wow. Now, it's important to know that just because the inventory is up that much in the last 5 years, that doesn't mean a whole lot when you look at historical context, because we've been so bad over the last 5 years that if I say, oh, we're up more than we have been in the last 5 years, it's like no reason to celebrate yet. Fewer Americans are buying homes because it's more expensive to buy than it's ever been. And economic unease is making people nervous about making such a big purchase. The median housing payment hit an all-time high of $2,882. Wow. With a 1.7 year-over-year increase in home prices and a near 7% mortgage rate contributing to high costs, many of the people who can afford to buy are hesitant to do so, with consumer sentiment sitting at a near record low amid fears of a trade war and potential recession. So comment, I want to know from you, does the trade war, forget the housing prices for right now, and forget the interest rates for right now, but does the trade war and the potential of a recession stop you from buying a house? Would that stop you? If you had if some seller, well, it is possible to get that deal today. Like if you did the work and found a deal where you're like, hey, I got this house for like 30% off. And oh, by the way, I'm going to do seller financing and the seller's going to give me, I don't know, 4.5% for 5 years, or 4.5% for 10 years. Would a trade war and potential recession stop you from buying a home or even an investment property? Let me know. On the supply side, high costs and the uncertain economy are also contributing to the increase in listings. Some sellers are listing because they want to save money by moving into a smaller home or a less expensive area. Some are listing because they believe home prices will start declining soon. And some see the surge in inventory and want to get their home on the market before there's more competition. Okay? Additionally, there are people who need to sell. Did they steal that from me? I didn't. That's not right. I stole it from Mike Zuber, so I can't take credit for that. Additionally, I want to read this again. Additionally, there are people who need to sell regardless of timing due to a major event like a divorce or job relocation, or they need to sell because they're tapped out, right? That's the other reason why people may need to sell. Remember, if you want to find an opportunity, I hate this ad. If you want to find an opportunity out there, folks, you need to focus on on sellers that need to sell, not want to sell. The want to sell people will not give you a discount or much of one, right? They're just as soon take their house off the market. The need to sell people, those are the people you got to go find. They are out there. They probably exist on the MLS right now. Like there are probably listings in your MLS. I don't care what MLS you're on. I don't care where you live. There are people in that list that need to sell. Now, they may not be in your price point, right? However, a kind of maybe it's a secret. It's not a secret. Maybe it's just a pro tip, I guess I'll call it. Is if you're looking, let's say, for between 250 and 300 grand, look at the 325 to 350 as well. Not because you can afford the 325 or 350, but maybe you can find somebody in that price range that will play ball and bring it down to your price range. So when you set your parameters, think about that, right? Like if you see a home on the market for 50 days and normally homes are moving in 25 days in your area, and that home's priced $25,000 over what you are used to, what you're approved for, or what you want to pay, what you can comfortably afford, well then, maybe you can make an offer and get it into your price range. You want to find the need to sell people, not the want to sells. I mean, you can find want to sells. There are plenty of people that want to sell. This thing drives me nuts. There are plenty of people that want to sell, but you just need to realize you're probably going to pay what they're asking, right? Clients are asking me to, this is crazy. Listen to this comment from this agent. This thing is, hang on a second. All right. Clients are asking me to call them when they're at a tipping point. No, I'm sorry. Clients are asking me to call them when we're at a tipping point because they want to sell before prices drop. Said Hazel Shakur, a Redfin premier agent in Maryland. My advice to homeowners, if you're planning to sell in the next year or two, do it now because we don't know what's going to happen with home values or the larger economy. Buyers should know that because of the uncertainty in the air, they may be able to get a home for under asking price or get concessions from the seller. Exactly right. Exactly right. Like, unless you have to move right now and find a house, like, I got to find a home this week. That's just how it is. And you're like, I don't care. Like, I'll just pay the retail. I'll pay what people are asking. Then, do you, whatever. But I encourage you to really have some patience and find a seller that needs to sell and negotiate. But the point I had earlier was to why this is crazy is a client are calling this person. The clients are asking him, hey, tell me when we're at a tipping point in the market. Nobody knows that. And there are people that say, well, I would not buy at a 30% discount now because prices may drop to 50%. True, that could happen. But like, if you can find the deal today that makes sense for you and hits your goals, do that. If it makes sense. There's no telling what's going to happen in the future, right? Obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching this and I wouldn't be doing it, right? We'd be doing something much different, like who knows what. All right. So these are the leading indicators next. This is what we look at when we just look at like home buying demand and activity. Daily average 30-year fixed mortgage rate, 7.05. That's gone up. What is it today? I think I looked earlier today. Let me look at what it is. Here's Mortgage News Daily, 7.08, up 0.09%, 9 basis points yesterday. So this has gone up. This has definitely gone up since yesterday. 7.08. Yeah, I mean, if you're waiting for interest rates to go down, I am, because I want to refinance some properties. But just like trying to time the bottom of the market, way back here, right? When is this? Not way back here, but like right here, look at this. Last year, September 23rd, 2024, we were at 6.2% on a 30-year fixed. Last year, not at this time, but almost a year ago. Did Jason, the housing nerd, refinance at that time? No, I did not. No, I did not. Why? Because I thought, oh, it may come down to a 5 handle. So I didn't. And guess what? It went up and has stayed up, basically. We also had another dip here. Like right here, we had one at 6.79, right? Which is a drop, certainly. Did I refi? No, I didn't. Why? Because I thought maybe it would come back down to 6.5. So I'm not perfect. Obviously, you can tell that by these videos. And everybody messes up with that. And so I thought, oh, I'll wait. Oops. And there's going to come a time, like some of these properties I have, there's going to come a time at which I'm going to have to refi it, like because of the way the loan's structured. I'm going to have to. Now, right now it cash flows. If I kept the current interest rate, would be fine. If I kept this interest rate we're seeing today, no big deal. It's not going to kill me. But geez, it'd be nice to lock it in at like a sub-6 rate. But that's like hopes and dreams. That doesn't do much. Anyway, that's real life investing, folks. Like, you're trying to figure that out, and sometimes it doesn't work out in your favor. So timing the market's difficult. And so, you know, you just don't know what interest rates are going to do. That whole narrative of date the house. No, marry the house. I can't even say it. Marry the house and date the rate. That has to be the worst real estate advice ever to come out of somebody's mouth. Comment below and tell me what you think. Marry the house and date the rate. I mean, I get the point of it is that, hey, if you find a house you like, great. But man, we don't know what rates are going to do. You just don't. So if you can't afford the house today, if you're not cool with that rate for the next 3, 5, 10 years, don't do it, because you don't know what rates are going to do. All right, mortgage purchase applications. How many people are applying for mortgages? Well, down 5% from a week earlier. As of week ending May 16th. Up 13% from a year earlier, though. So I guess more people applying for mortgages versus last year, but not a ton more. Redfin Homebuyer Demand Index. This is their goofy demand index they have. Up 4% from a month earlier as of week ending May 18th. Touring activity up 13% from the start of the year. Not that much. Last year, we were up 23% at the start of the year. So demand definitely is not great. There's no doubt. Google searches for homes for sale, that's up 6% from a month earlier. Whoop-de-doo. It was up 6%, or it's up 6% year over year. I don't know if that means a whole lot. I guess it does probably mean something, but nothing that we really care about on this on this video. Median sale price. This is like their U.S. highlights for the top 400 metros across the country, and kind of what's happening with median sale price, median asking price, all this stuff, like top line data from a price and inventory status. Median sale price still higher than last year, $391,725. It's up 1.7%. It's hanging on for dear life. It's hanging on for dear life right now. Like, it's close to going underneath last year. In fact, Zillow now has us up like 0.7%, and they think that we're going to end up down 0.9%, I believe, for the next 12 months. I have a Zillow update forecast video coming out this weekend, so stay tuned for that. But our median sale price just keeps kind of chugging along. Median asking price, how much are people asking for homes? $431,450. Obviously, there's a big gap there because I think affordable inventory still lacks, and higher priced inventory still on the market. Median monthly housing payment record high, $2,882 at a 6.81%. But we saw 7.09% earlier from Mortgage News Daily. So this payment's a lot higher. Pending sales, $89,277. Down 2.2%. So like, just people just aren't, there's not a flood of buyers. The whole spring rush of buyers has not happened. New listings, 110,637. 110,637. That's an 8.4% increase versus last year. So more new listings. Good. Active listings, 1,106,000. It's up 14%. That's the smallest increase in over a year. But I think this is one of the first times I've seen a 1.1 handle. Normally just over a million. Like at this time of year, we haven't seen a 1.1 in several years. Definitely since I've been doing these videos, as far as I know, which has only been like maybe 2 years or so, a year and a half, maybe. Months of supply, 3.9 months of supply. That's up slightly. Again, I think there's a lot of homes on the market that aren't selling because they're overpriced, or they need a lot of work, or it's, yeah, those reasons are probably why, or they're just expensive homes that people aren't buying. Share of homes off the market in 2 weeks or less, 39.7, down from 44. So homes are definitely sitting on the market longer. Median days on market, obviously 37. That's up 4 days. But that's shrinking. Like that, it feels like, I have to look at the chart here in a minute, but I think median days on market is shrinking, obviously because it's spring, but it's still higher than it was last year. Share of homes sold above list price, 28.2, down from 31%. So still 28.2% of buyers are paying above list price. But remember, that is final list price, not original list price. Way different. That means if I cut my price initially and brought it down to earth, and then somebody gave me, let's say, 100% of my asking price, my current asking price, it would be 100%, even though I dropped the price earlier. So that's how they're measuring that. By the way, you can get the average to original list price info from your realtor. Your local realtor using the MLS should be able to get that data for you. Average sale to list price ratio, 99.1. Not from the original list, though. That's down from 99.4. So people are getting a small discount off the current list price. Redfin, this is the 50 most populous U.S. metros. We can buzz through this just real quick. We've got median sale price. Where is it up the most? Not really surprising, but Philly, Miami, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Providence, Rhode Island. I keep saying this on a lot of my videos lately, but did you know in Pittsburgh, PA, during the GFC, home prices overall went up 5%. Crazy, right? During the GFC, Pittsburgh's like a really resilient market. Not crazy up and down, but a lot of just, steady as she goes. Maybe that's why they have so many rings. Just saying. All right, metros with the biggest year-over-year decreases. Or Oakland, Dallas, Austin, Tampa, Houston. It declined, median price declined in 10 metros out of 50, out of the top 50 only. I think out of the top 200, we're like at 69. According to Zillow data, we're at 69, are down year over year in prices. Pending sales, where did pending sales go up the most? Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Virginia Beach, Chicago. Where did pending sales go down the most? Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Las Vegas, San Jose, and Detroit. New listings, this is a little surprising. Washington, D.C., that's not surprising, up 20%, yikes. Houston, that's not necessarily surprising. But Boston, Baltimore, I thought those two were surprising as far as new listing growth. They need the inventory. Certainly Boston does. And then Seattle. Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, San Antonio, San Jose, Tampa, and West Palm Beach all dropped the most in new listings. So new listings declined in only 6 metros out of the top 50. That signals more and more growth of listings. All right. We're not going to bother with these charts unless somebody comments. I get a lot of comments telling me that I should bother with them, but I'm not going to probably. So we'll jump right into the data. So that was the national look. Now we'll dive into these metros. Before I do, let me take some comments. Just kind of take a look and see what we got here. Oh, we got some good comments here. New Jersey. Aaron, hey, how you doing, Aaron? Hello from Morris County, New Jersey. Prices are still insane here. Don't even get me started on property taxes. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, let me mark that one, and I'll do Morris County, New Jersey. Future car RS7. Oh, the Northeast was resilient, and then the crash finally came up to the Northeast. Maybe not as hard as the rest of the country. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. A lot of areas did decline somewhat. A lot of them declined a ton, and some went up. I just couldn't believe the data when I looked at it. Maybe I'll do another video about that and how prices, were not everywhere crashed. That's what I always thought. As I kind of started getting into the housing market, I was like, oh, everything crashed in 2007. Not true. An RS7. That's a serious car, man. I like Audis, so congrats. Hello, can you please do Grand Rapids? Sure, I'll do that one. Would you please explain why you prefer small multifamily? Yeah, briefly, I will. So I like, because it was the first investment property I bought was a duplex. And I quickly realized that if I if I don't want large multifamily, which I really wasn't interested in, for whatever reason, I just was like, nah, I don't really want that. Maybe the price scared me, which shouldn't scare people, but it did. So I was like, hey, if I can get 2 incomes underneath a roof, or 3 incomes, or 4 with a quad, then that's better than just getting 1 with a single family house. The other reason why I did it was that there's a lot of old houses in my area, a lot of like houses built in 1900, 1920, 1930. And so a lot of those properties were huge single family houses, like, 2,000, 3,000 square foot houses that have been chopped up into apartments because, they were just more, at some point, the owner decided to do that. And so there's a lot of that inventory out there. It seemed like there weren't a lot of people paying attention to it in my area when I started. So that's why I went to it. And the sellers were easy to talk to. That's purely why I did it. Now, looking back, was it the right strategy? I probably should have maybe bought larger multifamily if I could have. Because one roof with multiple units, like 10 units underneath one roof, is only one roof versus fixing, 5 duplexes for 10 units where you've got 5 different roofs, or 5, 5 different individual properties. Those are just going to be more expensive to maintain. So, but I have become really good at small multifamily. So I've kind of stayed in that niche and focused in that area versus trying to go outside of it. The last thing I'll say is I also like to, many people probably won't believe me here, but I like to leave the single family houses for owner occupants. Is that foolish of me? Maybe. I only own a few single family houses, and they came with multifamily packages. So that's why I have them. I didn't go after them individually. Anyway, that's it. That's my answer. Bless your heart if you buy a house right now. Right. That's funny. Stuntfish, what's up? Trade war could only affect me, aka make me hesitate if it caused material prices to go up. Yeah. I bought some tubes of caulking recently for a project, and I couldn't believe how expensive they were. Like the DAP caulking, really expensive compared to where they used to be. So time to buy and wait. Yep, you could definitely buy and wait. You make money by buying real estate and waiting, not waiting to buy real estate. I'm just kidding. That's a cheesy line too, but still, I get it. Thank you for joining us, by the way. Tam. Is that it? Tam? Yeah? Is that what that says? Okay. Tam. Sell and wait. Okay, you can sell and wait too. Wait until market crashes to buy. Sure, you could do that. Difficult to tell how far it'll crash, or if it will crash, or how far it'll fall. But yeah, I mean, when prices start to come down, if you've been in the mode of waiting, I'm sure you're going to be able to find your deal. You could probably find it today, honestly. You just got to look. Nope, would absolutely buy waiting for some seller pain. Would absolutely buy waiting for some seller pain. Yep. It's out there. It is out there. I don't think a recession stops me, but if I'm afraid about my personal income security, I'd be hesitant to take on new costs or lower my equity. That's how a recession fear happens. Right. Understood. You're right, Chris. Yeah, there's going to be natural hesitation with that, I think. Like if you're watching the nightly news and it's a, recession fears grow, then you're like, oh no. I mean, if you're watching somebody like Real Estate Mindset, then pretty much every video says the recession's here, doom's here, you're done for, batten down the hatches because we're all finished, right? So you just gotta kind of, I think, level out some of like what you absorb and realize the headlines and what they are. We're past the tipping point in the market. It's half the country. Well, it's not half the markets necessarily are down year over year, but inventory's up a lot, right? All right, I'm going to keep going here. A couple more. Well, you have really great. Here's one. Hang on, I'll get to that Kelly one. Agent Crypto, can you do Riverside? Yes, absolutely. I can do Riverside. I'll put that one down. I think I already have that one, but I'll tag it just in case. I imagine the weather always helps the sellers. No, the weather always helps the sellers. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it helps when it's nice out, but when it's crappy, no, it doesn't help. Buyers don't like looking in crappy weather. Well, that's one of the reasons why I think that the winter, like this coming winter, could be one of the best times to find an opportunity. People don't like looking at houses in the winter. That's the best time to look at a house. Realtors don't take days off. Like as a realtor, I do not take a day off, meaning I could have a day off schedule, but if somebody calls me and says, hey, you know, this is who I am, yada, 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 and I know them, or I've already qualified them, we've already had a couple conversations and they want to see a house and it's like supposed to be my day off, I'm going to go show them a house. I'm going to go help them. If that's their timing, right? So don't be afraid. If you want to, call an agent on a holiday. And there's nothing wrong with that. Call them on the holiday and say, hey, I want to go see a house. So coming up in the winter, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, that's when you can find a deal because nobody else is out there looking at houses. Sunfish, date the rate had to be a saying by a loan officer. It is. If you refi every 3 years, you're only paying off interest. Correct. Have you ever covered how foreign investment may likely to react to a 40 to 50% crash? No, I haven't. Let me make a note of that. That's a good idea for a topic. Thank you. Let's see. What's up, Steve Hamrick? Jay, I think the economic instability may be referring to consumer sentiment. Yes, you're right. Absolutely correct, Steve. Good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. What's up? All right. Got that one starred. Let's see. Redfin, more like slowfin. Pretty good. Although I will say, eccentric, and thanks for joining us. I will say they have the most up-to-date data regarding like when you look at the big data providers, because they're looking at this on a weekly basis. So from when I look at it, I'm like, it's pretty nice to have the weekly data. The only other data I could get is from like my local MLS, but I can't get national data any sooner than this that I know of. If you have a suggestion where I can, I'd be happy to look at it. Date the realtor, marry the mortgage servicer. That's pretty good. I'm gonna tag that one for later because maybe I'll steal that somehow if I can, if you don't mind. Okay, let me get to these metros now. All right, so let's start. You guys know where I'm going to start. Let me go back here real quick. Columbus, Ohio, right? Got to start in Columbus, Ohio because I live here. By the way, be on the lookout. I am starting another channel. It's an Ohio-only YouTube channel. So I'm doing the same thing that I'm doing here, but because I live in Ohio and I've got a ton of stories and ideas about different videos for Ohio, I'm decided, hey, I'm going to start an Ohio-only YouTube channel for the Ohio housing market. So it's actually out now. I haven't launched, but there's no videos on it. So I don't even know if you can find it. I kept it simple, Ohio Housing Nerd. That's all it is. So be on the lookout for the first video coming in the next week or so. And I'll do lives and everything for just people in Ohio. Or if you want to just know what's going on in Ohio and you live somewhere else. All right. New listings in Columbus, Ohio, 8.4% up year over year. That is definitely climbing. We are adding more new listings here. There's no doubt. Pending sales in Columbus, what do we got? Down 2.2%, about what it is nationally. Well, this is all metros. Yeah, I was like, what's going on here? Okay, let me go back to new listings. My bad, guys. Okay. New listings up 10.6% for Columbus. Wow. Yeah. That's a nice jump up. Pending sales, what are they doing in Columbus? Only up 0.7%. I thought they were up. So they are up year over year, but they're not extraordinary. And that normally leads to more active listings. So let's look at active listings. Look at that. 19.7% higher than this time last year. So we are adding active listings. There's no doubt we are. in Columbus. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. Okay, there we go. Now let's do I always look at like one other stat every week just for all the metros. Let me see. Median days on market. Let me do median days on market and see where that is. 37.75, up 3 days year over year. So homes are sitting a little longer in Columbus, but not extraordinarily longer. It's not like, I mean, look at this back at the beginning of the year. It was 60 days, up 13.25 days year over year. That was a huge spike, but it's kind of calmed down since then. Again, I am seeing homes sit on the market if they're overpriced, if they're high, if they're priced high for the area, like in an area where the median sale price is $350. If you have a house on the market at $650, it's going to sit longer probably. And also if a house needs a ton of work, and it's kind of in like an area where we're like, you're like, well, that home is listed at $250, but it needs $200,000 in work. Well, if the median price in the area is $325, that may sit too. Okay, so that's Columbus. Let me just look at median sale price real quick. Median sale price, what do we got? $348,000. It dipped below last year for the first time that since I've been doing these videos in Columbus. It dipped down 2% down year over year, but then now it's up 2% year over year, and it's 348. Our record in Columbus, by the way, is like 354, 353 right here, 353 back in July. So I would think we're going to hit that, unfortunately. Anyway, that's Columbus. Let's do Cleveland next. New listings in Cleveland, Ohio. 7.5% up year over year. Okay. What about pending sales? Yeah, pending sales down 2%. Huh. So Columbus is up slightly. Cleveland's down, about where the national number is as far as pending sales. Active listings, what do we got? 7.38% up year over year in active listings. It's a 4-year high. It's starting to go sideways. Like Cleveland is just hurting when it comes to active listings. It could easily go underneath 2022. Like back in 2000, let me look at this real quick. We have, so right now, 4,400 listings, active listings. Back in 2022, look at that inventory. We had 5,800 in Cleveland at one point. But this isn't 2022. So it is going up, but I would look forward to, you know, I don't know. I don't know that it's going to explode by any means. I mean, unless we have a lot of new listings. But the market's tough in Cleveland, especially for locals. A lot of investors there. Let's do median days on market in Cleveland. 18.75. Only up 1.5 days. So it's, I mean, they're basically moving about where they move the last few years, right? Well, there's 2024, 17 days, 15 days, 11 days. Yikes. Back in 2022. And by the way, you can see, like, I point this out all the time, but remember in 2022 in Cleveland, you saw that inventory spike in the second half of the year, and you can see the days on market climb significantly when that inventory spiked. Let's look at median sale price, though. Yeah, look at median sale price, $244,000, up 7% year over year. Maybe because it's one of the most affordable areas to live. Maybe that's why. I mean, it's $244,000 for a medium price home. That's pretty inexpensive. Even for Columbus, it's pretty inexpensive. Look, last year they peaked at $247, so they're really close to an all-time high in Cleveland. Really close. Man, at some point, the locals are, well, they're probably already priced out, right? But maybe it won't eventually make sense for investors to buy there. I don't own anything in Cleveland. I get a lot of deals though sent my way in Cleveland. I think I got like 10 today when I opened my inbox. 10 different deals, but I don't even know why I get those because I'm probably not going to buy anything in Cleveland. Not because I don't like Cleveland, just because it's even though I'm a Steeler fan, just because it's I just like stuff closer to home. Wow. Okay. Let's do Cincinnati. Cincinnati, Ohio. 5.6% up year over year in new listings. So everywhere in Ohio has, more new listings, which is good. Need more active inventory, need more new listings. 702 pending sales, up 5.6%. Wow. Much more activity in from a buying side. Like, look at this number right here. Look at the trend. It's definitely going up for pending sales. And if I look at the rate of change for pending sales, it's trending up too. Right? Overall trending up for pending sales. So yeah, I guess that's good news if you're trying, if you're in real estate. And just buying and selling creates price discovery, right? That's what's been keeping the market from moving as far as, really coming down at all, in my opinion, with median sale price. Not a lot of price discovery. There's not a lot of transactions. Let's look at days on market, median days on market. What do we got? Median days on market. 36, only up 1.5 days. Basically the same, just like Cleveland. Same as last year, pretty much. Now, median sale price. Median sale price is 309, up 7.8% year over year. And that's an all-time high for Cincinnati, isn't it? 309, 307, 305. Yep. That's an all-time high for Cincinnati, Ohio. $309,000. So you've got markets where prices are dropping, but you also have markets where prices are not dropping, and now they're at an all-time high. Crazy, right? A lot of that has to do with new construction. There's just not a lot of new construction in Ohio. I know that people in Ohio think there's a lot of new construction. I see it all the time on Facebook, but there's not. There's not. I mean, you go out to like Vegas, Phoenix, even like Indianapolis, and there are big housing developments. In Columbus, and maybe, I don't know. I'd like to interview a home builder and find out why that is. Like, what's the reason for that? I don't know. Maybe people just don't like Columbus. That's fine. But we do need more inventory. Actually, I have a new home video, a video about new homes coming out here in the next few days too. So stay tuned for that one. Okay, we've done Ohio. Now, let me get to my list of ones that other people want to see. I've got a long list here. Let's do, I've got Maryville, Tennessee. Nope, that's not on here. Well, whoever requested Maryville, Tennessee, I need the county. Or is that a county? I got Marshall County, Tennessee. How about that? Somebody wanted Marshall County, Tennessee. And if I forget you, or if I skip you, just please put it back in the comments. I'll do my best to get to it. If not this video, the next one. Okay, so let's do new listings in Marshall County, Tennessee. You only had 21. Huh? But that's up 52%. It's hard to look at this when the chart is, or when there's not a lot of data, because the chart's just going to go up and down. Because there's just not a lot of, information flowing into it to level it out. But nonetheless, we'll glance through it real quick. Pending sales, 15 pending sales, up 1.6% year over year. Okay, what about active inventory there? Active inventory, you got a lot more this year. 241, that's up 31.65%. I mean, Back in 2022, you only had 147 active listings, 140 active listings this time of year. And then last year you had 179. Now you've got 241. So definitely more active inventory there in that county. Days on market's not going to show us much because it's there's just not a lot of data. But let's do median sale price and see what we get. Median sale price down 8%, but the chart is all over the place. So I wouldn't take much stock into this. One thing I would pay attention to here, if you requested Marshall County, Tennessee, is active inventory is definitely up, consistently up compared to last year and the last 4 years, really. So that's good news. Let me go back to new listings briefly and see what I see. New listings. Yeah, I mean, they are up more than last year. It says they're up 52%, but again, you don't have that much data going in there. So I wouldn't get that much really excited about the new listings, but the active listings, that is encouraging if you're looking for more inventory. So that's Marshall County, Tennessee. Let me look here and see what else I got. Bear with me. Bear with me. San Bernardino County. San Bernardino. Here we go. This was like the epicenter of the housing crash, or one of them. It was down a lot. San Bernardino was down a lot during the GFC. New listings only up 0.6% year over year. So that tells me there's just not a lot of people that need to sell. If there were a lot of people that needed to sell, you'd see that much higher, I would imagine. I mean, if you need to sell your house, you're going to list it. Pending sales. What do we got? Look at this. Pending sales down 7%. I mean, that market is completely locked up. Like no one is selling. Not a lot of people are buying, obviously, either. Active inventory. Wow, look at this. Active inventory now has shot up, but it's only up 6.4% year over year. I mean, it's a 4-year high right now, but it would be a lot higher if more people would list their home for sale. Median days on market. What do they got on median days on market? 39. That's up 3.25 days year over year. Again, I don't have the data, unfortunately. Like if I had 3 wishes for the housing market as far as information goes, my first wish would be that I could see historical inventory data by metro or county going all the way back to like year 2000. I can't find it. Even if I want to pay for it, I can't find that data. I wish I could, because I think back during the GFC, this number had to be a lot higher. Days on market had to be a lot higher. New listings, I'm sure, were higher. Active inventory was probably higher, a lot higher, even leading up to the GFC, I would imagine. But we're just not seeing the inventory there, at least according to Redfin's data. All right, median sale price. What do we got in San Bernardino? $540,000. It's by far a 4-year high. Like, I mean, it is $540,000, 4% up year over year. It hasn't even come close to touching last year's price. And last year ended up a lot. Look at that. I mean, you're up 8% year over year at the end of last year, then started this year up 9%, and you haven't looked back. I mean, you've gone sideways, I suppose. 546, 540, but right now that's a 4-year high. Prices don't seem like they're coming down there at all, unfortunately. Okay, next metro, but thank you for suggesting that one. Morris County, New Jersey. Let's look at it. New Jersey seems to be difficult. Oops. Morris County, New Jersey. New listings. Yeah, look at this. New listings down 3.9%. Nobody's listing their house there. Or few people are. Look at pending sales, just like San Bernardino, down 7.7%. Nobody selling, nobody buying. And you can see, like, let me go back to the new listings here. This is a pretty telling sign. Like, look at, except 2022, when everybody listed their home for sale, or a lot of people did because rates went up and people were like, oh no, and they pulled the fire alarm. 2022, folks, stands out big time in these charts. Like, it's definitely a difference from all the other years. I mean, the other years here in New Jersey with new listings are just all clumped together. So you're not really making any progress with the new listings, except in 2022, but that was years ago. And then pending sales, same thing, like, well, same thing, like from a standpoint that right now, this time of year, pending sales haven't really moved that much. They're kind of all glumped into that same area. But look at pending sales in this period of time there. Back in 2022, up 90% year over year during the week of September 18th. Why? Well, if you go back to new listings, look at the new listings rise. Now, if we go to active listings, my guess is, yeah, look at the active listings in New Jersey. Look at those things shoot up because new listings went up higher, added to the active listings that went up. Then what happened? Well, let's go back to pending sales. Bunch of people bought the houses. So one of the kind of questions I have for this year's housing market is, and coming up in subsequent years, will the rise of active listings drive more buyer demand? Like more pending sales, because there'll be a lot of houses out there on the market. I think that'll happen if prices come down or if rates come down for some reason. Then I think you're going to see more demand, more buying, just like you saw in New Jersey because they had inventory. So inventory is good for everybody, generally speaking. All right. Anyway, I thought that's a pretty interesting chart. Median sale price. What do we got? 7-Eleven. I'll take a slush puppy, please. Blue raspberry, by the way. All right. You started the year median sale price up 4%. Now you are up 5% in median sale price. New Jersey is probably one of the toughest markets in the country. I mean, look at that. Like you peaked at 719. You're at 711 right now. You may hit an all-time high in New Jersey, in Morris County, New Jersey, for median sale price. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Let's look at the next one. I hope that helped. Price is still insane here. Yep. Yep. And then tag on property taxes and forget it. What do we got here? Grand Rapids, Michigan. Sure. Grand Rapids, Michigan. What do we got? New listings up 14%. Okay. Again, look at 2022. It's not a 4-year high of new listings. Pending sales. 8.8%. Huh. So you got more people listing and more people buying, it looks like. Like that's close to a 4-year high. Active inventory, it's a 4-year high for you, up 11.21%. Boy, everybody lists. I mean, look at that. All the active inventory happens in that second half of the year, in the last 4 years anyway, in Michigan, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Maybe they put them all on the market before. Let me go back to the new listings. Yeah, like new listings rise in the middle of the year. And then that grows active inventory maybe before it gets cold. I don't know. Median sale price. What's that doing? $353,000. That is an all-time high. That's an all-time high there in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Right? Last year you peaked at 349. Now you're 353. Jeez. Man alive. That's not good to see. Okay. Wow. I didn't expect that. What else we got? Riverside. I should have remembered to do that when I was doing San Bernardino, because they're kind of in the same area. You want me to do? I'll do Riverside County. How about that? Riverside County. 3.4% up in new listings year over year. So you definitely have more new listings than San Bernardino as far as growth goes. Riverside County pending sales down 3.1%. So a few people listing, not a lot of people buying. Active inventory, how's that doing? Up 17%. But again, it's not like extraordinary. It is a 4-year high though. It is, and it's probably it's a 4-year high, not an all-time high probably. 8,600 active listings. This time last year you had 7,300 active listings. Median sale price, how's that doing? Oh, look at this. Down. Like not even 1%, but you are down. 615 grand. Last year you were about 621 or so. And you peaked last year at 622, right? And ended last year at 612. So you are under 2024, but I'm sure you're not seeing a lot of price relief. It doesn't seem like it's a crash. And there's a lot of new construction out there from what I would imagine there is. Imagine there's a lot of new construction there. I mean, it's when I lived out there was a ton. I lived out there right before everything kind of went haywire. I didn't own a house, thank goodness. I almost bought one. I probably would have bought one in Riverside or in San Bernardino, because I lived in Irvine, and there was no way I could afford a house in Irvine. I couldn't even afford one in San Bernardino or Riverside. Practically afford, but countrywide thought I could afford it. And then my wife was like, no, I think we should look at Ohio again, where we grew up. And I'm like, okay. We couldn't believe the home prices in Ohio, and then we left California, went to Ohio, and bought a $130,000 home. Okay, that's Riverside. Go back to new listings. What's next? Oh, that's Chris's idea. Lakeland, Florida. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do that one. Hey, if you're on this live stream and you're just joining us, put your metro below and I will get to it, I hope, today. If not, I'll do it on the next one. And hit the like button. Don't be a freeloader. Got to hit the like button. All you got to do is bring your thumb and your comment, and I'll bring the data. All right. Lakeland. What do we got? Lakeland, Florida. I'm really curious to see what this looks like. Look at this. Is there a Lakeland County, Florida? There's not, right? 16% down year over year in new listings in Lakeland. I don't get it. Again, if you had to ask me, I would say, oh, you're in Florida, new listings must be up. But it's a 4-year low right now in new listings there. I mean, nationally, we're like at a 4-year high for this time of year. But in Florida, it's a 4-year low in Lakeland, Florida for new listings. Okay. What about pending sales? Wow, that's a 4-year low as well. Down 15.8%. I mean, people have completely checked out of the market. Like the housing market, if you're a realtor there in that area, it looks like you got to be hurting. You got to be hurting. If you're an average everyday realtor who's like depending on the market to save you, you're doomed right now. Title company, it's got to be rough. Even home inspector, even photographer who does the real estate photography, got to be hurting. Anybody tied to transactions there, that's significantly off. 357 pending sales. Last year, you had 436. Back in 2022, you had 493. I'm sure you all feel bad for the realtors, right? Hey, they got to make a living too. Or we have to make a living. I'm part of that. Oh, let me do active listings. Yeah, active listings. Look at this going down in Lakeland, Florida. I can't explain that. I mean, I really can't. I don't know the Florida market like the back of my hand, obviously. But it's a 4-year high still, but it's going down. It's only up 6.6% year over year. Why is that? Why is, I mean, again, I keep thinking, okay, people in Lakeland are doomed because they're in Florida. But having said that, I will use practical knowledge and tell you that I have a client that is moving from Florida to Ohio, and they sold their house very quickly in Florida. And I think they were a little concerned that it may sit a little while just because of the market, right? But their house is priced correctly, obviously. So the realtor down there did a great job, and they did too at pricing their house correctly, and their house is in good shape. And they take good care of houses. So their house moved quickly, and they're able to, come to Ohio. So it's I think it's market specific, but it's also what type of house you're putting on the market. Is it in good shape? Is it priced fairly? Are you not being greedy? Then you'll probably move it. Maybe that's what's happening in Lakeland, Florida, and the lack of new listings, obviously. Huh. Who would have thunk it? That's new listing, median sale price. I always do that. Median sale price in Lakeland, Florida. What do we got? Well, it's 0% growth. That's flat, $318,000, but it's not crashing. It's like kind of going up again. Now, the rate of change down here measures how much it's moving year over year only. That's what this measures down here, and it's kind of sideways overall. So it's just kind of sitting there, probably from the lack of transactions, kind of like the national market, right? Just the lack of transactions is not allowing for a lot of price discovery and not a lot of new listings there. That surprises me. Okay, what's next? I got any other ones on here? I'm sure you do. And if not, I have a ton. In Sylvania, oh, wow, you're in Sylvania? Tam? That's cool. I almost bought I guess it was like a 4-unit building in Sylvania. Looking back at the deal, I should have pulled the trigger, but it was a ways off from me where I live. Not that really matters that much, but anyway, that's interesting. I wonder, you know what? I can't imagine them having any data on Sylvania, Ohio, but you never know. It's probably the Toledo market, right? No. Yeah, they don't have it. It's probably the Toledo market. Let me see. I'm just looking for somebody who wants a market reviewed because I have a whole list. Ooh, look at this one. Monmouth County, New Jersey. Okay, I got you. Monmouth County, New Jersey. How did you spell that? Oh, Monmouth, not Mammoth. What? Oh, Jason. There we go. Sorry, guys. New listings in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Up 5.5%. Okay. What do we got as far as active listings? See how they're doing. Or pending sales. Let's do pending sales. 1.2% up. So you're up in new listings, up slightly in pending sales. Active inventory. What's that doing? 8.91% up year over year. Not a 4-year high by any means. Like, it's just not great. Again, just like the other county we looked at in New Jersey, look at 2022. I mean, active inventory went through the roof in New Jersey in 2022. And then people bought it, it looks like. Median sale price. Up 7%. $702,000. What was the high? 719. Do I hear a 720? No. 719,000 was the peak back last year in September, and you're approaching that. Like you're at 702 already. So you could definitely see a record high there. Man, New Jersey's rough. It just is. Doesn't surprise me what I'm looking at there. Florida surprised me when we looked at that earlier, but not New Jersey. Tough. Middlesex County, Massachusetts. Sure. It's one I've never done before. Look at this. Wow. Every year it like spikes like crazy at this time of year. New listings in Middlesex County, Massachusetts, 13.9% up year over year. That's a pretty big increase. And remember, Boston, Massachusetts was up like 15% year over year. It was one of the biggest increases in the country as far as year over year increase in new listings for the week. So Massachusetts is probably, you know, maybe breaking free a little bit, maybe, but they've been so bad. I mean, new listings and everything has been so bad there that I'm sure just a slight rise, you know, makes the number jump, the percentage jump. Let's do pending sales there. You look at pending sales, down 2.1%. So your new listings are up, pending sales are down. How's active inventory? Yeah, look at active inventory. Not surprised. Up 18.8% in active listings there. Now, does that mean there's opportunities all over the place? I don't know. Probably not, but at least it's not going down anymore. So there's some hope. You're probably telling whoever requested this. Who requested this? Jadab. Probably like, you're like, no, there's no hope still. Maybe there is. I don't know. It's but you still have some definitely more active inventory, which is good, right? You need that. It's healthy. Got to have that. What's median days on market do there? Nothing special. 16.25. So homes are selling taking a little longer to sell, but not much longer. Median sale price. How's that doing? Up 7% year over year to 855 grand. Is that an all-time high? Not yet. You're at 861 was an all-time high according to Redfin data back last year, back in June, and now you're at 855. So you're close to that all-time high. Last year you ended at 760. You started the year at 713. Wow. Man. Like, I wish they had 2021 on here, but they don't. But all the way back, if we go, let me see. If we go back to 2022, you were at 759 this time of year, and now 855, almost $100,000 difference in the median sale price. Goodness gracious. Okay, so that's Massachusetts. It continues to be a very tough market. Sacramento, Sacktown, let's do it. Metro. Sacramento got whacked during the GFC. There's no doubt. It got whacked. A lot of those California, like, outskirt areas with a lot of new construction definitely got hit hard. I think the worst in the country I saw as far as the major metros was Stockton, which is right there, right in that area. 9.8% up in new listings year over year. Definitely some more new listings. By the way, talking about Sacramento, shout out to Mr. Jason Walter. If you guys want some more housing data, Jason does a great job. And he's helped me a lot with my channel. So shout out to Mr. Jason Walter. A lot of people thought that like I was him for a while or something, or I was copying him or something. I don't know. It was funny because I have glasses. My name's Jason, but you know, not the same guy. Oops, sorry. I'm babbling instead of working. Pending sales. Let's do that. Pending sales. What are those doing? Down 8.9%. So you got new listings up a ton. Pending sales down a lot. Where's the active inventory going? Wow, look at that. Way up. No surprise, right? When you have a lot of new, not a lot of pending, active inventory is going to rise 31% up, 4-year high by far for this time of year. You're approaching a 4-year high, really close to a 4-year high of inventory, period. Not an all-time high probably, but a 4-year high. Wow. Median sale price, what do we got? $594,000 up. Basically, it's flat pretty much. Well, yeah, up like 1% or less than 1%. But things still expensive there. It doesn't seem like it's crashing. You peaked in pricing, by the way, back in May of 2022. A lot of places like Sacramento peaked during that period of time. And then look at the median sale price, what it did after that. I mean, it was just like, woo, way down. And it ended up at 521 that year in 2022. And then in 2023, it actually started at 513 and ended, where did they end? At 560. Then they ended 2024 at 591. And they started this year at 578. Now 594. So if you bought back in 2022, like in this time period, you're down, you know, what is that? Not down that much. 13, 20 grand, 20 grand, I guess. Right? Is that right? Yeah, down like 20, 25 grand. But yeah, that's Sacramento. All right. What's next? I'm active at Evansville, Indiana. I buy and hold, do BRRRR, and get all my money out. Looking for private mortgage lenders, I guess, and local team, realtor, and contractor. Okay. You're looking for private money people, huh? I mean, I know people loaning money, so for real estate. My email is in my description, so shoot me an email, Jennifer. But let me look at Evansville. I never look at Evansville, so let me look at it. Evansville. Must be a good market, huh? Or is it? I don't know. You're there, you seem excited about it, so that's good. Look at new listings, up 17.7% in Evansville, Indiana. Wow, pending sales went wacky. Look at pending sales, or 2022, they went wacky. 19.5% up right now in pending sales. Wow, 4-year high. People are buying there, buying and selling, it looks like. Is that what you're seeing, Jennifer? Let me know. Active inventory, what do we got? 24%. Wow. Year over year, you got more inventory, more pending sales, more new listings. Everything's looks like it's just rolling along there, like you've got some actual movement. What's happening with median sale price there? Kind of hard to look at the charts all over the place, but 227, up 6%, call it 7% year over year. This doesn't necessarily surprise me because the Midwest is like this. There's just a lot of resilience because prices are low relatively to other markets in the U.S. A lot of deals still work, or I can't say a lot of deals, but you can still find deals. Probably easier than a lot of other markets to make it work, make numbers work as an investor. So that's great. Looks like things are keep chugging along there. I'm sure the locals would want to see prices lower, but there is more inventory. And there's more pending sales and more new listings. Pretty cool. I'm curious, Jennifer, if that's what if this matches what you're seeing in the market. You know, this is kind of a macro view of Evansville. So maybe you specialize in a certain area, but I'm wondering if it matches kind of what you're seeing. But thanks for suggesting that. I lived in Eastvale, sold homes in 5 counties when I lived in SoCal. I left California in 2021 to go to Vegas, one of the lowest property taxes in the nation. That's true. It is low. They're about to eliminate them in Ohio. Or they're going to try to. Grand Ledge. Look at this one. Quilted Gardener. That's a cool name. Grand Ledge, Michigan. Eaton County, Michigan. Curious. We are looking for a home there. Okay. Let's look. You said, let me go back here. Let me look. You said Eaton County, Michigan. Eaton County, Michigan. What do we got? Not a lot going on. 26 new listings, down 18% for this time of year. Pending sales, what are those doing? Pending sales are, you only got 25 pending sales, up 3%. What's active inventory, though, doing? Wow, look at active inventory, down 6.7%. So I would say if you're looking for a home there, especially probably an affordable home, you know, under the median. So where's the median price? Median, not medium. We're not psychic. Median price is down 10%. Is that right? Yeah, down 10%, but there's not a lot of data, so the chart's all over the place. Nonetheless, you are down in median sale price and at 252. So if you're looking for an affordable home because of the inventory being down as much as it is, I would say it may be difficult to find an affordable home that makes sense for you. Let me go back. Let me look at median days on market and see if that helps us at all. 28 days right now. I mean, it's up 6 days year over year. So maybe there's some homes on the market that are just not moving because maybe they need a lot of work or they're overpriced or whatever. But you're probably going to just run into some issues because the inventory there looks low. So I would say you got to be really patient. Don't be afraid to look off market. Don't be afraid, whatever realtor you're working with, don't be afraid to ask them to pull a list of the expired listings and canceled listings in the area and call those listings. I mean, have your realtor call those listings and ask if they're still interested in selling. Like if something expired and they never got their price they wanted, maybe they're more apt to negotiate now. That could work. Or you have to look off market maybe. Perhaps. But that's what's going on there in Eaton County, Michigan. Thanks for that. Would there be any interest in looking at Sanibel Island, Fort Myers? Sure. Now, I think this Fort Myers, Fort Myers. No, it's not on here. Where is that near? Give me a bigger city where it's near. Oh, Lee County. Can I do Lee County? Isn't that Fort Myers? I'll do Lee County, Florida. Lee County, Florida. Let's do new listings. What do we got? New listings, 550, down 6.3%. Geez, again, I can't believe there's not more. Oh, let me do pending sales first. I can't believe there's not more new listings there. Look at pending sales, down 10%. Like that, like Lakeland, Florida. There's just not a lot of people buying. It doesn't look like there are people selling either. Active listings, what do we got? 25% up year over year, starting to head down though. Wow. So you do have a lot more active inventory than you had the last 4 years. There's no doubt about that. But geez, I would think you would have just a lot more, especially with new listings. You think they just keep going up and up. Look at median days on market though, 67 days. That's up 14 days year over year, meaning there's a lot. I mean, homes are sitting on the market a lot longer. I'd say that's a lot longer, 14 days. It's a 4-year high by far. Last year, it was 53 days. 2021, or I'm sorry, 2023, it was 27 days. And 2022 was only 8 days, 7 days, whatever. And that was a decrease of 2.38% from 2021. So like it went from 7 days to 28 days to 52 days to 67 days. I'm just curious here. What's month of supply say? Yeah, see, this is like, you know, there's not an explosion of new listings, it doesn't look like. Well, it's down, right? Let me just double check this again. We're down in new listings. Yeah, down 6.3% for the county. So if I look at months of supply basically is the how much supply we have divided by how many homes we actually sell, right? And that'll tell you in a time period, and that tells you how many months we have left before we don't have any inventory. Well, right now you're at 8.1 weeks of supply, which is 2 months. That's not a lot. Like if you get to 5 months of supply, then you're starting to do something. You get to 6, 7, 8 months of supply, that's a lot. Back during the GFC, that number was like, not for locally for you, but nationally, that number was like 13 months of supply. Now you only have 8 weeks of supply, which is 2 months. So I don't know, like, again, tell me if I'm wrong, but I just don't see the carnage in Florida when I look at this data. When I say carnage, I mean like tons of listings and people just pulling the fire alarm and cutting prices. Somebody needs I don't know if anybody knows him or not. I don't know him, but somebody needs to reach out to Nick at Reventure Consulting. I think he lives in Florida. He's always talking about Florida, and just I don't know, have him look at this data and go, how does this work? Because he uses Redfin data, I think, in his app. So like this, there's just not a lot going on here in Florida from an inventory standpoint. Certainly doesn't look like people are saying I got to sell or I'm doomed. Otherwise, there'd be much more inventory, you'd think. Anyway, that's what I'm seeing. Let's look at median sale price. Look at median sale price down 7%. Maybe I'm wrong. It has been going sideways for a few weeks though. It went down a lot at the beginning of the year. What happened to inventory then? Let's look at that. Yeah, look at inventory. So active inventory went up and prices went down. So you're down to a 4-year low on median sale price. That's new. Yeah, look at this. You're down to a 4-year low. By far. I mean, this time last year you were at 410. Now you're at 377. That's a discount. Look at 2022, 417. Okay, so I'm looking at just data and charts and everything. I'm not on the street there. So like Nick he does a great job being on the street there. I see a lot of his videos about Florida. So if you're, in that market and you're at $417,000 in 2022, and now that same house is listing at 377, is that a discount? Yeah. Is it a crash? I don't know, but it's definitely a discount. So off peak, it is off peak a good amount. Okay, there we go. So not a lot. It doesn't seem like active inventory is exploding there anymore, but you're certainly down with median sale price. Okay, let's look at the next one. But thank you for that. Cape Coral. Nick Crinkle. Crinky. Nick Crinky. Hope I said that right. Yes, Cape Coral. Let's look at that. People are probably like, man, can you talk about something other than Florida? I get it. But it's where prices are dropping the most, usually, that in Texas. New listings in Cape Coral or Cape Coral, down 5% year over year in new listings. What? All right. Now, pending sales. What's up with those? Down 9.8% in pending sales. Nobody listing, nobody buying. Active listings. 25.3% up year over year. So certainly more active homes for sale. No doubt. Let's now median sale price. Did this chart change? Because this looks like the same chart. Let me refresh this. This doesn't look like it's right. Let me refresh this. Apologies, folks. Kate. Because I did Lee County, Florida. There we go. Different. New listings down 5%. Active inventory, where's that? No, it's the same, 25.3. This looks like the same as Lee County. 377 down 7%. 417, 421. Maybe it has the same data for all I know, or the same, very similar data. But prices are down there. If this is accurate, prices are down 6.81%. It's just odd that it looks very similar to when I did Lee County. Hopefully that helped. I'm not sure. Give me this. What's up, Zane? Yes, I did. I did Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. But you probably want Sandusky, don't you? Sandusky, Ohio, for Zane. If I remember right, Zane. Otherwise, I'm just kind of wasting my time here. New listings up 32% in Sandusky, Ohio. By the way, that's home of Cedar Point. Some would say the best roller coasters on earth. Kings Island, I think, has it beat because of the beast, right? That's really the only reason I say that, which is the best roller coaster on earth. 21 pending sales, up 13%. So people buying, people selling, more so than last year. Active inventory in Sandusky, Ohio. What do we got? Up 20% in active inventory. So you're probably seeing more active homes for sale, although there's only 226. Median sale price, what's that? 4-year high, $234,000, up 24% in median sale price. Last year you peaked at 267. So you have a little more, right? There is some hope with new listings. You can see it climb, right? The number of new listings. You can see the rate of change overall has gone up too with new listings. So maybe you are getting some more active inventory that'll stick. It's certainly going up. I think you're looking for an affordable home there. So maybe there's some hope. But it may take longer for you to actually see them on the market in, that equals like a normal time where you've got some things to choose from. I'd imagine it's still tight for affordable homes there. Good homes, right? Ones that you can halfway move into. If you're willing to do some work, there's probably more opportunity. All right. Whoa, got a super chat. Could you look at Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri? Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Trippy Pen 8, right? As I say that right? Trippy Pen 8. Yeah, sure. I can take a look at that. And thank you for the super chat. That means a lot. Thank you. Kansas City, Missouri. Now, Kansas City's tricky. That doesn't give me that market for some reason. I have to do, I think Kansas City. I don't think that's in here anyway. I have to be a little more crafty. Yeah, it's not letting me. What? Let me look here real quick. Jackson County. Can I do Jackson County, right? I just looked it up. That's why I was typing. That's the county. Jackson County, Kansas. Is that okay? That doesn't make any sense. Help me out. Oh. There's a lot of counties it's in. So yeah, I need one of your counties. because it looks like there's Jackson, Clay, Platte, and Cass. Do you want Platte County? I don't know. You tell me. It's your super chat, so you tell me. And I'll keep my eyes open for it. Yeah, because Kansas is it's not coming up. I don't know. It's basically Redfin has a way of dividing it out by MLS, and I don't think they're showing it. Ah, here we go. Jackson or Wyandotte. Okay, there wasn't a lot of data for Jackson, so let's look at Wyandotte. Wyandotte County, Kansas. What do we got? Yeah, there's some data. Thank you for clarifying that. New listings. Let's go back to new listings. 58 new listings. That's up 30% year over year, almost a 4-year high. Like really close to it. Really close to it, which is encouraging if you're looking for a home. Oh, let me do pending sales. Pending sales there. What do we got? Oops, that's not right. $50 pending sales, up 11.7%. More people buying and more people selling. Look at that, an active market. What a shocker. Active listings only up 5.83%, but it's a 4-year high right now. And it's continuing to go up as far as the number of active listings. That's good if you're looking for a home. The rate of change with active listings is kind of headed down overall, right? Like you started the year at 308. I'm sorry, the rate of change is heading down. So you're at 5.83% now. At the beginning of the year, you were at 8.75% year over year. So that change from one year to the other is headed down. But at this point, the number of active listings is going up, right? So maybe a few more selections out there, but maybe not extraordinary. The median sale price right now is a 4-year high for this time of year, $228,000, up 3%, which is normal, by the way. A 3% increase in home prices is like par for the course over history, I think. Actually, I think in the last 20, 25 years, it's like in the 5 or 6% range, probably because of the insanity we had over the last few, 2-3 years. But 3%, some would call that a healthy housing market being up 3%. Of course, I'm sure you want a correction downwards, and then you're okay with 3% every year, right? But all-time highest price, $242. Is that right? $242. $242. We hit it twice back last year. But this thing is going up and down, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see this thing go back up at some point this year. Again, just like all the other metros, or many of them we looked at, look at 2022. I mean, it just completely was different than the other years, just down. That median sale price down because probably active inventory back in 2022 was going up. Yeah, look at active inventory climb. So it's not immediate. When you see a rise in active inventory, it's not like the price goes down immediately because it has to hit the market, sit there for a while. People realize, oh, that property's not moving. Maybe I can make a lowball offer, or the seller's willing to take less, and they need to sell, or for some reason in 2022, people really needed to sell at that period of time. They did, and prices went down. If you look at the GFC, you'll see the same thing. Inventory went up first I think in 2004, 5, you start to see that inventory start to climb significantly, and then the prices started to come down. And then inventory kept going. Supply and demand, supply and demand. Not very exciting, but the facts. Thank you again, Trippy Pen. I appreciate it, and hopefully that helped. All right, what else we got? I'm sure somebody called out one I missed, but I do have other ones that people asked for, not on the live. Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, okay, actually, let me back up and let me do Vegas. Somebody asked for Vegas. Las Vegas. Las Vegas, Nevada. What's going on there? Up 7.1% in new listings. All right. Now, pending sales. How are those? Look at pending sales, down 12.6%. So that tells me, I would think, that active listings should be higher. Yeah, look at active listings going up 41.95% year over year for Vegas. Wow. And that rate of change is going up too for active listings. And look at back in 2022, same story, right? At one point, they were up 64% in active listings in Vegas. Median sale price, what's going on with that? I mean, it started the year at 436. Now, 452, up 2.4% year over year. And it's a 4-year high. Not an all-time high yet, but it's close. It is close. And look in 2022 what happened. Again, inventory went up in 2022. It shot up, and then the prices just went way down. Look at that. They ended up at 401. And now median price, 452. I wish the folks on YouTube that are in real estate, that do real estate channels, I wish they were more logical and practical and not so emotional when we were in the 2021, 2022, 2023 stage, because you look at overall active inventory and you can tell that if active inventory drops, prices are going to suffer. Instead of saying, hey, the crash is here, right? Like today, prices will come down in the next month. I heard people say that. They're actually saying you're going to see prices fall from here on out, folks. Why you'd say that, I don't know. Not when inventory has been so bad. Yeah, I mean, most of it is they wanted prices to come down, right? Emotionally, but still, you just got to look at it and go, hey, is it practical for prices to come down? Like now with active inventory in Vegas like this, shoot, up 41% year over year. If this keeps going up, look what happened in 2022. Is it possible for prices to start to drop? Possible, but it hasn't happened yet. Still up right now. 2% for Vegas. Okay. Another one was Salt Lake City, somebody wanted. New listing, Salt Lake City. Up 4.4% in Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake's expensive. Pending sales up 1.2%. All right. Active inventory, how's that? Look at this active inventory just going up. 25.78% up. It's a 4-year high right now. I think it's actually, yeah, it's a 4-year high period. We haven't had this much inventory at all in the last 4 years in Salt Lake City. Median sale price, what do we got? 542 grand, up like 2%. And it's going up right now. Let me go back to active inventory for a second. Yeah, I mean, I guess because there wasn't a lot of inventory here through the winter months, right? You were only up 11% at one point, up 15%, and then it really started to climb. So median sale price, was going down. But maybe the new inventory, the active inventory hasn't actually grabbed hold yet, to bring prices down. What's pending sales doing? 1.2%, that's it. Must not be enough active inventory yet to really cause any type of crazy price change. Because it's going up, and it's been going up for several weeks. Man, peak, by the way, in Salt Lake City, 562,000 back in May of 2022. A lot of areas peaked in 2022. Now you're at 542. You ended last year 526. You started last year at 491. So now you're at 542. Jeez. So if you keep seeing more inventory in Salt Lake, you may see some price relief, but I don't know. It's not showing it yet in the price chart. Must not have enough active listings yet. What else we got? Anybody else? I'm sure I'm going to miss one. Let's do the next one here on my list. I did that one. I did Raleigh. Somebody wanted Raleigh. Raleigh, North Carolina. New listings in Raleigh. What do we got? 22% up year over year, dang near a 4-year high with new listings. Like it's really close. 738. It may be an all-time, not an all-time high. It may be a 4-year high with new listings. Active listings. Whoops, let me do pending sales. But you can see active listings are straight up. Pending sales down 2.7%. So no surprise, active inventory at Raleigh way up. 47.3 year over year. Man, that's an explosion of inventory, wouldn't you say? 5,977. This time last year they had 4,109. So that's like almost 2,000 more active units for sale, active houses, active inventory, however you want to look at it. Jeez, that's a lot. Now, what's up with median sale price? Well, median sale price is down in Raleigh. Down 1.4%. Is that right? Down 1.4% in Raleigh. And it'll probably struggle to get higher. You have a lot more active inventory. So if I'm buying a house there in Raleigh, you probably have a lot to choose from, I would think. If you're selling a house there, definitely have to be sharp on your number. Obviously, depending on what little micro area you live in, right, and what you're doing. But that's Raleigh. Raleigh, North Carolina. All right, what's next? Let me see. Got another one here. Somebody wanted Mechlinbugh County, North Carolina. That's Charlotte, by the way, is Mechlinbugh County. Whoops, what is it? Mechlinbugh, how do I spell that? That was there we go. Mechlinbugh County, North Carolina, which is Charlotte. 15.2% up in new listings. Now, let's do pending sales. Up 6.9% in Mechlinbugh County, North Carolina. And active inventory. What's that doing? Active inventory. What do you got? Wow, look at this. Up 33.43%. A lot more active inventory. A lot more homes to choose from, which is good. You need that. Now, median sale price down 2% year over year, $444,000. And it's been going down over the last few weeks. Like you kind of peaked this year at 472 for this year anyway. The all-time peak was 477. You almost got there. But then I'd imagine because of active inventory skyrocketing, it went up, or the prices came down, right? Yeah, look at it. The active inventory went up, prices started to come down. Normally, that's what you see. Normally. Will it keep falling? I don't know, but if active inventory keeps going like that, you probably will. Probably a lot of new construction there, I'm guessing. Let me see. Okay. Somebody wanted Atlanta. Atlanta, 1.5% up year over year in new listings. What's pending sales in Atlanta? Down 2.8%. Now, active listings, how are those? Well, I shot up big time at the beginning of the year in Atlanta, but now they're up 18% and they've kind of leveled off. What about median sale price? Median sale price is still, it's basically flat, 402, but it doesn't look like it's crashing. And new listings just aren't impressive. They're only up 1.5%. So there's this theory out there about institutional investors and how this is, I don't blame the person for saying this, but I think they have to really be more honest with themselves, is that people say, hey, institutional investors are net sellers, meaning that doesn't mean that they're selling all their inventory. What that means is that they're just not buying as much as they're selling this year, right? Well, why? Well, same reason why you may not be buying a house, because things are expensive and rates are high. When rates drop, they'll probably buy. If prices drop too much, they'll probably buy. Well, in Atlanta, people really have been saying, I see it all the time, that's where institutional investors are going to be hurting the most and fire selling their properties. If they are selling their properties, they're not putting them online and they're not putting them in the MLS. They must be trading them with each other, which is normal and that happens all the time. But the point is, like, if there was massive distress in Atlanta, you would see new listings certainly higher than the last few years. Otherwise, there must not be that much distress there. That's just how it is. You're going to list your home if you need to. You know, if you need to sell, if you're an investor and you're like, man, if I don't sell these 2 properties in the next 30 days, I'm going to go BK. You're going to sell those things and you're going to put them on the MLS and you're going to sell them at a price that you can move them to avoid bankruptcy. You're not just going to keep them off the market and shadow inventory, you know? Anyway, that's what I see in Atlanta. That's just not a lot of impressive data. I thought it would be a lot more listings overall. Yeah. Median sale price, just flat. But it's gone up since the beginning of the year. Hasn't gone down. All right, let me look at some more comments, see what we got. Let me go back up here. The impending trade war does not concern me regarding the purchase of a new home. The extreme overvaluation of existing listings is beyond concerning. I think you're right, Jeff. I think that's the way a lot of people think. Like, if prices were a lot lower or rates were a lot lower or a combination of them, the trade war and stuff, people would be like, well, whatever. But if they can get the price they want or the rate that they want, whatever combination, however they're doing their they're buying homes, I would think it's going to be, that's how most people function, I think. TM, what's up? Monroe County, Pennsylvania. Sure. Monroe County. Monroe County, PA. New listings in Monroe County. What do we got? Up 3.2%. That's it. That's it. Remember, nationally, we're up like what, 10? No, 8.5. Pending sales for Monroe County. What do we got? 12.7% up year over year. But it's kind of like, I mean, you're kind of in that range. You did have a big jump here. Look at this. Pending sales back in 2024, they went up a ton. Well, 123. Maybe somebody bought a bunch of properties all at once because you only have 123 listings or pending sales. So not a ton of data to use, but let me look at the active listings. Maybe that'll tell us more data. Active listings. Down 3%. That's not good. What about median sale price? What's that doing? Median sale price down 2.16%. It's kind of been going up and down all this year. You're at $301,000. This year you peaked. I think was this an all-time high? Yeah, look at that. This year you peaked an all-time high of 322. Geez, 9% at that time, up year over year. But the chart goes up and down a lot because there's not a lot of transactions. So it doesn't look like prices are crashing there. You certainly don't have the inventory, it seems, to crash prices. Right? We looked at active inventory. You don't seem like you have the inventory. You're down year over year in active listings. So tough market. PA, I would imagine, is, there's probably pockets of Pennsylvania where we're going to see a lot more active listings, but overall, the Midwest, the Northeast is tough with inventory. I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, unless rates come down enough so people can, leave their current home and buy something else. The move up buyer, they're gone right now. So maybe that whole golden handcuff thing, that's in effect. That is definitely in effect in areas like Monroe County. Otherwise, you'd see more movement in the housing market. But thanks for that suggestion. Oh, we got Edwin back. I told my agent I want $12,500 seller credit on $550,000. They offered $7,500. Told them $12,500 or I would walk. This isn't a buyer's market. My money, my way. This isn't a buyer's market. Well, first off, Edwin, thanks again for the super chat. Dude, this is so nice of you to do that. You've like single-handedly fueled my my pizza fund every Friday night. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So do you mean this isn't a seller's market? Is that what you mean? This isn't a buy, because at the end you say this isn't a buyer's market. My money, my way. Do you mean to say or you mean to say the market is just still leaning to sellers, and so you're not feeling like it's a buyer's market? But good for you in saying, I told my agent I want $12,500 seller credit on $550. They offered $7,500. I'm assuming by they you mean the seller, right? Offered $7,500 back. Told them $12,500 or I would walk. Right. Seller's market. Right. And so you're saying that so then what happened? Did they take it, or are you still going back and forth? I'm curious. And good for you in demanding that. I don't know if you'll end up getting it or you did get it, but I'm curious to know. And again, thank you for the super chat. That was really nice of you. And I like the fact that you're going out there and saying, hey, this is what I want. Take it or leave it. Good. Make an offer that makes sense for you, not the seller. You're the one that has to pay the bills, not the seller, right? Not saying the seller's going to accept it, but why make a foolish offer that's going to submarine you for the next 10 years, right? Most people, I don't think, have to buy a house. I think a lot of people want to buy a house, but they don't have to. So realize that and go, oh, I can wait. Sometimes you can't, but I think maybe there's always an option to rent, at least somewhere. But yeah, I'm really curious what you found. Oh, here we go. Lawyer sent it an hour ago. I'll let you know. Yeah. Let's find out. You're not even dealing with an agent, right? You just got a lawyer involved. Good for you, man. Even though I'm an agent, I like that. I like doing things others aren't doing. That's good for you. Good for you. If there is more inventory, how is it a seller's market? Did I say that? Maybe you're commenting on somebody else. Consider a genealogy test to at least prove you're not Jason Walters' kin. My family, you never know, man. You never know. You never know what occurred, boy, back in the day. They're all running around in the Navy together out in Southern California. So it's anyone's guess. It's anyone's guess. That'd be hilarious, though. Let me just look through some of these. I do have an agent, but Illinois is lawyer negotiating. Huh. That's interesting. You mean a lawyer has to step in and do the negotiating? Is that what you're saying? In a real estate transaction, just buying a house? I didn't know that. That's crazy. I learn something every day. I'm looking for some other places. Ah, this is Zane looking to buy in Sandusky. Yep, I'm seeing more listings. Still waiting on a private sale deal we are trying to work. Good for you. Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. Buying off market, is that what you're doing? You mean? Or like, you mean for sale by owner? Good for you, Zane. Preferably fixer upper farmhouse. Nice job. Nice job. Fixer uppers are great. They can be if you obviously do it right. They can also be a nightmare, but you have to obviously plan ahead, and hopefully you are. Here, what's up, Shane? Agree with Jeff. Overvaluations keep me on the sidelines and will rent for the next year or two. I'd buy now if prices were at rational and current rates. Fort Worth, Texas, please. Yeah. My signal's not great either, so if you guys get a lag or something, not my fault. I don't know if they do Fort Worth separately. Oh, yeah, they do. Look at that. Fort Worth, Texas. Let's look at it. New listings. What do we got? 990, 8.7% up year over year. Pending sales. What do we have there? Down 4.6%. People aren't buying, but they're definitely listing their homes. Active listings. What do you got? Only up 12% year over year. Median sale price. What's that doing? Wow. Median sale price is up 2%. Definitely not an all-time high. Back in 2022, no surprise, right? We keep looking at this. It was up 25% in the summer of 2022 at 390. Now it's 367. So prices have definitely come down there, but it's gone up this year, unfortunately. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of active inventory compared to the last. I mean, you're at a 4-year high, but you're only up 12% compared to last year. But so you do have more homes for sale. I wonder if that's what you're seeing. I wonder if you're seeing just definitely more inventory, but not a ton of great inventory. Let's look at price drops and see real quick. I don't always look at all these different metrics like price drops in every metro because it takes forever to go through them. But yeah, look at price drops. 8.3% have had a price cut in the last 4 weeks, meaning they could have cut it before then too. But that's a 4-year high for this time of year. Except go back into 2022, it was 10.3%. Yeah, 2022 was just ridiculous. Completely different than all the other years recently. But yeah, you got a lot of price cuts right now. Median days on market. Let's look at that. Up 7 days, 42 days. Definitely taking longer to sell homes there. But there's not enough pain there to cause a median sale price to have a problem yet. Although you are off from peak by 30 grand, 23 grand. Okay, thanks for suggesting that. I hope that helped. Yep. Off-market family friend has nicer or older farmhouse on land. Appraisal should come in tomorrow from seller because they do not know what it's worth. Huh. Cool. Well, you're buying something off market. Good for you. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if you have a realtor or not. I don't know if they have a realtor. If there are no realtors involved, make sure you consider that in your offer. Meaning, as a seller, typically you pay, I mean, not typically, but you're going to pay some percentage as a seller, right, to sell your property. Oftentimes, the seller offers a buyer agent commission. If you don't have any realtors involved, put that in the offer. The fact that the seller's not paying for that like they normally would on the market, that's a discount. Can you look at Alpine, Wyoming? Yeah, I'd like to. I'd really like to look at Alpine, Wyoming. That's the city, Alpine? Or is that the county? What county is that in? Tell me. And I'll look it up. I'm happy to. Lots of, you're talking about Fort Worth chain, right? Lots of not so good inventory. Decent homes go fast, but they're still overpriced. That's what I'm seeing here too. Jessica, Lincoln County. That helps me. Thank you. Lincoln County, Wyoming. Yeah, I would imagine there's not a lot of new listings here. 16 is what's coming up on the list, but nonetheless, we'll go through it. 40% higher in new listings, but remember, you only have 16 new listings. That's not a lot. So I'm not sure how much this data is going to help you, but you have 6 pending sales. That's down 20%. Active listings. They're going straight up. They're up 18%, 165 active listings. That's been up all year. It's a 4-year high for this time of year. This chart's tough to look at. Wow, Wyoming's expensive. $532,000. I don't know where that is. Where is Lincoln County, Wyoming? I'm not sure if that's, I'm just curious, just for my own knowledge. Oh, it's north of Salt Lake City. Oh, you're like south. Oh, you're like south of Jackson, Wyoming. That's probably why, right? And then south of Yellowstone. I'm sure Jackson, Wyoming is super expensive, but Lincoln County is really expensive. I mean, $532,000 for Wyoming, man. That's crazy. Must be a really nice area, I'm guessing. Or maybe not. Maybe the homes are just overall expensive in Wyoming. That's surprising. But it's kind of going, the price overall is not, I guess it's going down. There's a trend that it's going down. Like you started at $711,000. Last year you peaked at $1,008,000, by the way. But your all-time peak was $1,030,000 back in 2022. But since you don't have that many transactions, one big transaction can throw everything off. So like if somebody, median is in the middle though. But if you don't have a lot of transactions and a lot of the transactions are expensive homes, then it's easy to get that median higher or lower if a lot of them are lower, conversely, right? But look at that point. It was up 83% year over year. But it doesn't look like a lot more expensive homes are selling now. Otherwise, your median price would be higher probably. But let's go back to inventory real quick and see if that can tell us anything else. Active listings. They are going up. So you definitely have more homes for sale. This time last year, you had 139. Back in 2022, you had 130. And now you have 165. So you got 30 more homes. I guess that's a lot. Just not a lot of inventory there at all to choose from. So if there's any buyer activity at all, you would think you're going to swoop that up. And I'm guessing a lot of those are probably like just assumption. Tell me if I'm wrong. A lot of those are probably like acreage, right? Like 10 acres, 20 acres with a house on it that's a vacation house, probably, a house that maybe is near $1 million. So not a lot of affordable inventory, I'm guessing. Like a 1,000 square foot home or a 1,500 square foot home. Man, I was just looking at Flagstaff, Arizona. It kind of has the same feel to it. It's a bigger market, obviously. The prices there in Flagstaff are insane. Really, really crazy. But thank you for suggesting that, because I love looking at these other I never get to look at. Oh, we had a comment about Reventure. Hey, have you talked? What's up, Tech Ninja? Have you talked to Reventure about historical inventory data? I haven't, but to my knowledge, he uses Zillow and Redfin, and they don't go back that far. Like Zillow on inventory only goes back to like 2015. They go back to 1996 with pricing. Zillow does. That's why you can look at the GFC with Zillow data. The only place I've ever found historical inventory data nationally has been old charts from National Association of Realtors. And they don't even have the info available now to download from historical trends. You have to like find a chart that somebody made during the GFC and then find that online and extrapolate the data. That's the only way I've found to do it. Or you can pay a service like Y Charts does it, but that's like $250 a month. So I got the free trial, downloaded the data they had, but so I have inventory data nationally, but I don't have it by metro for like early 2000s. It'd be nice to have. Dodge City, Kansas, please. That's what this person wants. What's up, Rachel? Hey, Jessica. Oh, about Wyoming. Prices don't seem to come down. Doesn't seem like it. 1 hour south of Jackson Hole. That's why you live in an amazing area. I remember I snowboarded out at Jackson Hole during my birthday, which is in June. One time I went out there on a trip, not to snowboard, but to rock climb. And when I was a like late teenager, and I got to snowboard in June, like in late June. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Seems crazy to me too. Yeah, prices there seem unhinged. Dodge City, Kansas. Okay. I can do a couple more, and then I'm kind of tapped out. Dodge City, Kansas. New listings. You only have 5. That's not that many. What about pending sales in Dodge City? 2, no, 6. So you're up 26% with pending sales. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of activity there. Active listings. Remember, this is only in the last 4 weeks. That's how they look at this data. Active listings, 87 though. So when you have what did we say? We only have 5 new listings and you have 86 active listings. That would tell me the active listings are definitely growing, or they're higher. I mean, look at that, 52% difference. Median sale price, what's that doing? Down 12%. I'm not sure how much stock I would take into that considering the low number of transactions, but you peaked this year at 283. Last year you peaked 294. Is that an all-time high? 302 is the all-time high back in 2023. There's a market that's way different than the other markets we've looked at. Because the other markets, 2022 was kind of the year they peaked, or a lot of areas did. But in Dodge City, Kansas, you actually peaked in 2023. But it could have been a big transaction, right, that made this number go up. But overall, it doesn't seem like prices are crashing, although they have come down. Now they're down 12% year over year. You started this year at 239, now 205. So maybe they're stabilizing or softening. You certainly have more inventory, but I don't know if that means, if this chart means that that you have so much more inventory that prices are really coming down. I mean, 87 active listings, is that a lot? Are you seeing a lot of homes on the market? Are you like, man, there's another home for sale. Wow, there's another one for sale. Or is it kind of like, well, there's a few more, a lot of houses that aren't selling because they're beat up or maybe overpriced. Maybe it's a lot of property with land for all I know. I see that in rural areas, right? A lot of properties for land with land like 10 acres, 15, 20 acres. A lot of people don't want that type of land. And those homes, you know, are usually priced higher, even if the house isn't great, because of the land they're priced higher and they can sit a long time. A house that's kind of beat up with a lot of land, if it's not priced right, it can definitely sit, you know, because people are like, shoot, I got to put a bunch of money into the house. I have a bunch of land, but if they're not like hungry for a bunch of land, that house isn't very attractive. And with a lot of land, you got to take care of it and you got to pay tax on it. I guess you don't have to take care of it. You can kind of just let it do whatever. But a lot of people, you know, want to take care of it, and you get it. All right. That's Kansas. No, oh, this is about Wyoming. No, everything that is expensive, most $1 million listings are on 1 acre or under. Huh. Okay. Everything is that expensive. Yeah. I'm surprised it's that 500 and some $1,000. Zach, how you doing, man? Zach 911. I'm starting to see some prices come down in Sacramento. The market is so overpriced. Good. Starting to see some prices come down. That's good. Can you please check Hemet, California? Sure. Hemet. It's not helping me here. What county is it in? What county is Hemet County in? I'm sorry, Hemet, California. Did I spell it right? Yeah. Tell me the county, Julia, and I'll get to it. Patience is a virtue. Tam Tam, thanks for all the participation today, Tam Tam. I appreciate it. Oh, it's Riverside? Oh, I did that one earlier. Go back and if you go back in the live, I did Riverside early on when I did the metros, and I'll timestamp it here this afternoon. I'll put the timestamps in and you can see it, but I did Riverside already. Properties are so overpriced in my area. What area is that? Did you already tell me? Oh, Dodge City, Kansas. Are they 200 grand? I mean, that's what the median price says here on Redfin. Are they near 200? Is that what you're seeing? Or are you like, no, that's crazy. They're like 400. Or are they cheaper? I'd like to know. I like the channel name. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I was just going to say this. So Tam Tam, thanks for all the participation. You're right. Patience is a virtue in real estate. It's one of the best things you can have is patience. Every bad deal I've ever done and gotten involved in was because of the number one reason, didn't have any patience. I didn't have any patience. I remember I bought a 4-unit at one point, and there were some people that I knew that thought it was a bad deal, and to prove them wrong, I bought the property and rushed the process. And it was not a good decision. I ended up selling the property for a loss. And even in a good market, I sold the property for a loss. People were calling, going, is that the right price? Yeah, that's the right price. And I had a hard time selling it. Eventually I did. And yeah, I just should not have bought the property. And it was because I was impatient. Are NIMBYs making it hard to build new, cheaper housing? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. No doubt about it. Everybody wants more housing and affordable housing, but they don't want it near them. Now, I think that that's probably human nature. I don't think that that's abnormal. I'm not saying it's right or it's going to help the housing situation, but I think that's how humans are. Humans think of themselves first, generally speaking. Unfortunately, that's just how they are. So I think that's how people look at things. They go, I don't want that near me, but we need more housing. Consider it paying tuition for learning to be more patient. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. What else we got? Anything else in here? What's up, Roman? Buying a home right now is insane. Prices are going to keep dropping and you'll be upside down in a blink of an eye. Well, let me ask you, this is a question. I always wonder this about people buying their primary house. Investment, I get, even that is kind of, I wonder about this too. If prices drop, like if you bought a house today, and let's say you got the price you wanted, like Edwin on here is negotiating, right? Good. He wanted 12,500 in seller concessions. They came back at 7,500. He's like, no, 12,500. That's good. But if you get the deal you wanted, Edwin, or anybody else on here, you get the deal you want. But then home prices in that area go further down. So let's pretend you buy at 300 grand. And at one point they were 375 and you buy at 300 and you're like, look at the deal I got. This is great. Then 6 months later, that same house that you bought is now worth 280. Are you going to be upset about that? Or is that going to like change your life? If you need to sell, it could change your life. But if you don't need to sell, does it really change your life at all? If it's your own house? Even as an investment, if it cash flows, like if I buy a building and it cash flows and it still cash flows, even if the value of the asset drops, but it still gives me, you know, positive cash flow, well, then maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, you want the asset price to go up once you buy, but I think it's incredibly hard to time the bottom of the market to say, I'm going to buy at this point because prices aren't going to go down anymore. It could be better to buy as it's going back up. Maybe, but you don't know if prices are going to keep going back up either. Anyway, I see this comment a lot, or comments like this where they're like, hey, if you're going to be upside down, like, what does that really mean? If you bought it correctly and you bought it with equity up front, right? You're not doing like 100% loan to value or whatever. You're not maxing yourself out. Then it may not mean that be that big of a deal. I don't know. Oh, would you say no buyer or seller agent will reduce price 9%? No, we could, but oftentimes it's around 6 in Ohio. I mean, there's no official commission rate, but generally speaking, what I see is 3% for the buyer agent, 3% for the selling agent. So it should be about 6%. The title agency is another 3 usually, or 2. When I talk to a seller, I generally tell them, hey, normally you're looking at 7 to 9% total cost, including title. So if you have 2 agents involved, it's probably around 6. The title is another 2 or 3. So that's where you get the 9. But I would say probably like 6. I hope that helps, Zane. Oh, here's one. I'm Illuminated Wisdom. I'm only approved for 300K. Moreno Valley, California, have 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes for 480. Yeah, I would imagine that area is not going to hold or not going to work for 300 grand. I'm sorry. That's a big delta too. Like, you can go off market and try to find something for 300, but man, that's a big change. Yeah, I don't know if I have an easy solution for you on that one. Not that you're asking for a solution, but that's tough. That's just a tough market. And if you're only approved for 300, not saying that's only, because that's a I mean, like in Ohio, you can definitely buy a house for 300. So like if that maxes you out at 300, then you probably maybe realistically in the 250 to 275 range, right? You don't want to max yourself out, certainly. But I mean, not that you want to move. I'm not telling you to move, but there are areas that are cheaper. We reviewed a lot of them today. But obviously, you may just like Moreno Valley, California, and you want to stay there. That's tough. I don't have an answer for you. I'm sure rent's not cheap either. Any way to work against the NIMBYs? Well, I don't know. Great question, Alex. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously there's going to be different laws, regulations, zoning rules passed locally that some people don't like, but I mean, that's just people's attitudes. I don't know if you can change that necessarily. The issue is that folks get talked into a variable rate with a promise to refinance in the future, no lower interest rate, and you're already under. Oh, yeah. You got to be responsible for your own actions with finances, in my opinion, including buying a house. If you're mature enough, old enough to buy a home, then you're mature enough, old enough to look at the information and go and ask questions and educate yourself. So I agree, though, like if you buy a variable rate loan for your own house you're living in, your owner occupant house, that could be a problem in the future if rates go up. Definitely. If you can make the payment, you're good to go. I don't know. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but like sometimes not. You know, you got to think of what's going to happen to property taxes and insurance. I always tell people, think of like project that property taxes aren't going to slow down. Project that that insurance is going to go up. Tag on another, 5% a year to your payment. Can you do that? What if you lose your job? Can you go work at McDonald's or Starbucks and still make ends meet? Can you not have a job for 6 months or 8 months and still make your housing payment? Run all the worst case scenarios and make sure you can afford it. Have a slush fund, and then have a slush fund backing up that slush fund, and then have a slush fund buried in the yard that backs up the second slush fund. Like, plan for the worst. Why do I feel like St. Charles, Missouri market isn't moving? St. Charles, Missouri. I don't know, but that'll be my last one. Is that a metro? I don't even know if it's going to be in here. How do you, wait. I don't think it's going to be in here. I wonder where that is. You have to give me a county. AZ Cardinals Enjoyer. Yeah, you'll probably have to give me a county. Question. Why and is it fair for my real estate agent to refuse to send me lowball offers? Well, I don't know why they're doing that specifically because I don't know your situation. I would say, though, that an agent overall is there to service their client and do what their client ask of them, as long as it's not illegal or unethical. But if the home has not been on the market long, like I've ran into this before where a home's listed for like 3 days and it's listed at 300 grand and somebody's like, hey, I want to make an offer for 200. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? So maybe that's what you're running into, Wisdom. I'm not sure. If a home's been on the market a little while and there's a sense that the seller could take a lower price, like a really low price, then they should be willing to send a low ball offer in. If the house is listed at 300 and you want to make an offer at 290, that seems, I don't know if they'll take it, but that would seem like not a horribly low ball offer. Yeah, I'd send that in. The only time I'd refuse to do it or kind of caution them or try to talk them out of it is when the property hasn't been on the market at all, hardly. It's only been on the market a couple days and houses in that area are moving at that price. And if it's priced well out of the gate, to make a low ball offer is a complete waste of time. Because if the house is priced right and it's in good shape, it's probably going to move at a price close to asking. That would really be the only reason, I would think, that they would refuse to do it, unless you're asking them to do something illegal, which I doubt you are, or unethical. So you may just want to find another agent. If they're not, if you're actually going after deals that make sense to lowball, like the house has been on the market 25 days and everything in that market's moving in 5 days. Well, that house has been on the market a little while longer. Maybe time to make a lower offer. I'm not saying you have to make the offer at asking every time. You can come off of asking, but if you're making an offer 100 grand over or under asking on a $300,000 house and it's only been on the market a couple days and houses are selling quick, that's probably a waste of time. And here's the weird thing about being a real estate agent. It doesn't matter what the price of the house is. you generally speaking almost do all the same work for a house priced at 300 versus $1 million. You know what I mean? Like the paperwork process, the check boxes you have to go through, the communication back and forth, all that is normally the same or very close to it. So you do the same amount of work. So maybe that's why they're not doing it. I hope that makes sense. I'm not making an excuse for them, just kind of theorizing why maybe I'm philosophizing why maybe they're telling you that. That's a great question though. But yeah, I mean, like if you're practically doing it, sending in lowball offers, that's fine, I would think. You could also just find another agent that's willing to do it. But I hope, I wish you the best luck because the market seems to be very difficult. I've paid $40,000 in rent in the past 2 years. Yeah, maybe you move to a different area that's cheaper. I need St. Charles County. Okay, got it. St. Charles County. Oh, here we go. St. Charles County, Missouri. Sorry about that. New listings. What do we got? 52.9% straight up. Look at that. A bunch of people listed their house in the last couple of weeks. They're like, time to list. Sell, sell, sell. Active inventory. Whoop, let me go back to pending. I always do that. Pending sales down. Look at that. At the same time, people were listing. People decided not to buy. Down 1.2% year over year. Active inventory, I'm sure that's up. That's up a lot. Look at that. Up 28.96%. So you said you don't think things are moving. Something like that. Or you're wondering if they're moving. Well, this tells me that they're definitely being listed, but people aren't buying that much. Let's do median sale price and see. Yeah, look at median sale price. It's still high. $365 in St. Charles County, Missouri. Up 5.4% year over year, and it doesn't show a sign of crashing at all. So while you have more active inventory, it's up 96%. It doesn't seem like the price has really reflected that yet. Maybe it will. Maybe you'll start to see more price cuts. Let's find a price drops. Let's look at that. Yeah, price drop. 7.4% of all active listings have had a price drop in the last 4 weeks. Just in the last 4 weeks. But that's a 4-year high for you. Median days on market. What do we got? 8.63 days on market. That's it. So it looks like things are selling fast there, unless this is wrong. I mean, this says houses are selling fast. In 8 days, they're going into contract. But active inventory is definitely going up. I mean, let's go back and look at this. You have 831 active listings. Last year, you had 644 active listings. So you got almost 200 more active listings. And back in 2022, you only had 523. So it looks like things are being listed. Let me go back to pending sales. You definitely have pending sales are down, though, 1.2%. And they've gone down a lot recently. Like they were headed kind of up. They were up. Look at that. You're up 18% year over year. And all of a sudden, people were like, nah, I ain't buying. So maybe that's why you haven't seen those prices come down yet, because the sellers haven't, obviously, they haven't lowered their prices enough for people to buy recently to lower that median sale price. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get a deal. It looks like you have a lot of active listings now compared to last year. Maybe there is a deal out there. These different markets fascinate me. Thanks for suggesting that. 45 minutes outside of St. Louis. I know St. Louis is a tight market traditionally over the last few years, so maybe that's why. Uh-oh. Would you recommend buying now or waiting based on cost, not interest rate? Boy, I can't answer that, Cardinal Enjoyer. I can't. Mainly because I don't know that market well enough. And I don't know, you know, the details about your situation enough to give you that type of answer. I would say that overall, I would say you have to set your budget, what you can afford comfortably. And if you decide, I definitely want to buy a house, then you set that budget and go find something that meets that budget. Meaning, don't extend yourself. Whatever you do, don't overextend yourself. Don't go to your very limit on approval. Don't plan for the best case scenario. Plan for the worst case scenario. Like, hey, if I lose my job, can I afford the house? If I lose, if I don't know if you have a second, if there's somebody else in the house that earns a paycheck too. But if so, then what if both people lose their job? If it's just you and you lose your job, can you afford to make your housing payment? Are you putting enough down for it to make sense? Are you prepared for all the maintenance that goes into a house? I don't know what type of house you want. New house, you know, even has maintenance and things you're going to want. Like, there are stupid things that when you buy a house, you get hit with that you scratch your head and go, I didn't think about that. Anything from like tree removal to gutters to outfitting the house. Even if you go cheap, right? And you're like, I'm going to go out and buy a used couch. Well, that's still a few $100 probably. Oh, I need a trash can. That's $50. It all adds up. It all adds up to the bill. If you have a yard and you need a mower, got to buy a mower, or you got to pay somebody to do it. Like, all those things go into owning a property. So just make sure you've thought through all that stuff and get your budget together. Then go out and find a property that meets your needs and your budget. So if you look on the market and there's nothing priced where you're comfortable in buying, then you're going to have to look off market to find a house that's not listed. And there are ways to do that. I talk about them on my channel a lot. I won't cover everything today, but there are ways to do that, to go find a property off market. Even if you just Google it or go into YouTube and type that in. And I do have 2 videos on my channel about buying off market, just a couple, unfortunately, right now. One is how to drive for dollars and find houses. Number 2 is how to write letters and contact the owners of those houses. As an investor, that's how I do it, but you can do it as a owner, as an owner occupant. You don't have to wait. You don't have to be an investor to do it. But my point is, go out, get your budget together, then say, this is what I'm going to do. This is my comfortable amount, my comfortable payment, how I'm going to buy the house, and then go find the house and the opportunity. And almost like, don't, in a way, I encourage my clients to not worry if now's the best time to buy or not, market wise, because that stuff's out of your control. Like, it just is. I mean, it's out of your control. So if you find the right property at the right price and you can be there a while, it's not like something you're trying to flip, like hoping the market goes up again. And it'll be okay if the market goes down. Be okay with that if you buy correctly, you know? And obviously there's a risk, right? When you buy a home, you are keeping yourself in that house somewhat for a period of time. So there's definitely an inherent risk with it versus renting, where you can sometimes, well, even if you break the lease, you can still move. With a house, you're going to get foreclosed on if you just walk away from it and leave the keys. So you can always leave when you rent normally, even if you have to break the lease and pay a fee. But with a house, if you have to sell in the next few years and the market drops and your equity position changes where you can't sell the house, then that's a risk that you're going to take at any time. And I think that's what people forget, I think, is that's always a risk. Always a risk. And if you're not willing to take that risk, don't buy a house. Right? So I would say not worry if it's the right time to buy market-wise. I think people that say that, like on YouTube, are like crazy. Like, this is the most toxic market ever. Don't buy. How can you say that? You don't know everybody's situation. You don't know where they live. So do you, Arizona Cardinal man, and don't worry about the market. Like, find the opportunity that makes sense for you and your family. Plan for the long term in the housing market. Like, plan for your asset in the housing market, right? Comfortable to be there, can make the payment if the apocalypse happens, you can still make the payment. for a good amount of time, right? And that you're comfortable with the extra costs that go into owning a property. So you're just not blindsided. I think that's probably what I'm saying. If you don't set yourself up for being blindsided, life will be much better. But if you go in hoping, wishing, and wanting a certain thing, but it's not realistic, or you just have your head in the sand when you buy, that's where I think a lot of people get in trouble. Like I don't mean to laugh at them, but the people that you see that have the property taxes with new home construction, those TikToks, I'm sure you've seen those. And they're fun to look at because you're like, man, this is crazy. But like in reality, when you look at the principal and interest payment and the taxes and insurance, if that payment you're being shown seems low, it probably is. So all you would have to do literally is do a search in the area for property taxes on the county auditor website. You could even go down the street and knock on doors. Well, how much are your property taxes? You've been here 5 years. Oh man, they're $4,200 a year. What? You look at your estimate and you're like, that's not what mine says. So my point is, people go in with these like rosy colored glasses on, thinking everything's going to be fine and great, and then they get completely blindsided. Lack of preparation. That's my opinion. But it goes along with that. A lot of people blame the 2008 GFC on them losing their house in foreclosure. Like the housing market's toxic. That's why I lost, that's why it ruined me financially with a bankruptcy and a foreclosure. But then you find out that they blew all their money. They bought an Escalade or a Rolex or something. They refied their house and went on vacation. Well, it's not the house's fault that happened. A lot of people didn't lose their house during the GFC. They just managed their money better. So hard to blame the market in that situation. Anyway. If you're smart enough, right? You're an incredible man. Geez, that was really nice. Earned a subscriber, very informative. Sweet. Hey, I earned my keep today. Can't beat that. I just need like 90,000 more. Right? I'm almost at 4,000. I'm getting there. Seriously, though, this is fun. I enjoy doing this with you guys. I've been on here 2 hours and 37 minutes. That's a record. And I'm wiped. I'm tired. But I'm happy to help. Extra costs include ever increasing quarterly property taxes and insurance. Yes, they do. Expect they're going to go up. Expect that, because they will probably. Some of the best night's sleep I've had in the last decade was when I didn't own a house. When I rented an apartment. I had sold the house, wanted to buy in a certain area, nothing available. So we were like, well, we're going to have to rent. So we rented an apartment and it was great. There was no maintenance. It was just, we guys know if you rent an apartment, there's no maintenance. There's nothing to do. The grass is always greener on the other side. Then when I got my house and I have some, land with it, I'm like, look at me. I'm like, I have all this land. Well, but then a tree falls down and you got to deal with that tree. That's your whole Saturday with a chainsaw. Or you got to pay somebody a couple $1,000. So there's a trade-off for everything. Tam. Thank you so much for your intelligent mind. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for watching. Is your name from that show? Is that why you call yourself Tam? I'm not saying you're from that show, but you maybe watch that show, or is your name just Tammy or something? I don't know. I just thought your name was funny. Sometimes just renting while you wait for a great deal is the way. Absolutely. In fact, Grant Cardone, who can be a good source of knowledge and kind of motivation in a way for real estate investing, or maybe other things you do in sales. I don't agree with everything he says by far, but he's an advocate for never buying a house for yourself and only buying investment properties and renting. Like, he's an advocate for that. And he says, never buy your primary house. It's a waste of money. And it can be a succubus of money and time. And sometimes renting is the best way to go. Ah, cool. It's from that show. It's funny. My wife watches that show. I'll have to let her know that somebody has a name Tam. Funny. Hey guys, listen, I'm going to jump off. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been a long one, but we covered a lot of metros. I hope it was worth you watching. It certainly was worth it to me to gain some knowledge and interact. And oh, my fault. Before I end this, no, nah, Tammy. Okay, Tammy, not the show. All right. Anyway, thank you again for their time. And I've got some great videos coming out this weekend. I've got a Zillow forecast video. I have a new home video coming out. And I'm working on a video about Ohio property taxes because they're working to eliminate Ohio property taxes. And so I'm hoping to have a video just about that. And then if you're in Ohio, check out soon. I'll have some Ohio videos on my new Ohio YouTube channel. And yeah, we will see you on the next Housing Nerd video. Until then, I'm the Housing Nerd and I am out. OUT.